Hello, everybody. It's Zane with Sailing Views. Today I have a good friend of mine, Patrick Wilson. Now, I've known Patrick for a number of years, and I'm sure we'll elaborate on that. But how are you doing, Patrick?
Pretty good, pretty good. Trying to stay busy, but everything's good here in Charleston.
Yeah, I hear you. So, you're staying busy. What are you doing up in Charleston?
Luckily, other than sailing, we've got the warehouse and the workshop where we do a lot of work on boats and everything. And because of race week and the Mogus 24 Worlds, all the boats just got here before the crisis and the virus and everything, so they're all still here. And the good many of the people still wanted me to do the work on them. So we're doing some, reshooting some keels, a lot of gel coat fixes, dings and fixes, and pretty much everything that went wrong in Florida all winter is
All
getting
right. Now,
fixed now.
did you hit people and cause any of those dings and that you're having to fix, or?
I did fix one yesterday. That was my J24 that Travis Odenbach and I got into a collision with at the Worlds in the last race. It was a
Okay.
minor ding, and it wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
No, you fixed it, so it was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to dive into some really weird questions for you, or pretty basic. The basic one is, how'd you get started sailing?
So getting started sailing, my dad always sailed growing up, and when I was about 5 or 6, I started beginner sailing at James Island Yacht Club, and it kind of went on from there. And to be honest, when by the time I was like 8 or 9, it was like you could stay at home all day with the babysitter, or you could ride your bike to the yacht club and sail your outfit with your delinquent friends with no supervision at all.
Yeah.
So we did that every day.
All right. Now, who influenced you? Who helped you out a lot? Who taught you a
Um,
lot? You know what?
yeah, major ones would be obviously my father, who from a very early age got me into it. My granddad was a bit of a boat builder, so the last boat he actually ever built was a wooden Optimist that I raced. And my dad still has it. And one day, maybe if I ever have kids, they'll use it. Racing wise, definitely hands down David Loring. From the time I was 12 till yesterday when we were sailing as Wasp, he's always been coaching me the whole time. He's a big, huge influence.
Yeah.
And then over the years, I've been really lucky to sail with a lot of really talented people that have got.
Yeah. Now, I've sailed with Dave and against him, and you got you as well. Uh, Now, before we aired, you were telling me a story about the old green sunfish I loaned you back in the
Yeah,
Wayback Machine. Tell me about that. What do you remember about that
yeah. We
regatta?
were talking the other day about Dave and I were about when I met you, and it came up. I think I don't even know the year. Unless I was I think I was 13 years old. I know we went to the Sunfish. I'd never been to North Americans, and it was in Gulfport, Mississippi. We went down with our like whole little junior team that Dave was coaching, and we did the junior North Americans, and we none of us really did that well. And the rest of the kids and all the parents left, but I wanted to stay and sail against the adults. I didn't care how I was doing. I just wanted to sail. And they took my boat on the trailer with them, and I was so bummed. Like, how am I going to do that? I'm going to have to go home. And then Dave was like, "Oh, I got this guy. He's kind of crazy, Zane, but I think he's got an extra boat laying around." And he loaned me the green machine. It was like a 1980s, like dark green. Like it got all over my clothes every day when I'd sail it. It was rubbing off, but it was fast.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember telling you it was fast. It was old, and it was pre '80s. It was like '70s, old, old, old. Uh, yeah,
Classic.
yeah, it was a classic. I poured a lot of love into it though.
Yeah.
But
So I appreciate it.
yep. All right. So, at what point did you think you were a good sailor? I
I
mean,
don't
when
know. I
did
don't
you
know
when
that.
did you suddenly go, "Wow, I'm actually good"?
I don't think it was as much thinking I was a good sailor as it was like if I want to be good at this, I have to try to work harder than everybody else. Was always my attitude. I always felt like I'm not the most naturally talented guy, but if I work really hard, maybe I can get better.
I got you.
I think that's where I kind of did well.
Okay. Uh, so there were no real aha moments. All right. Well, at what point did you decide to turn pro, and what had you done to think you had gotten yourself there?
To be honest, we just kept sailing, sailing, and after college, at some point, somebody one day said, "Hey, do you want to come sailing? This guy will pay you." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty awesome."
Yeah,
And I went, and I kept saying, "Well, I'll just do this for a little while and see how it goes." And it kept snowballing, and before I knew it, I was making pretty good money and having a lot of fun, and just kind of kept building and building and building. Probably like so maybe late 20s ish, somewhere in that range.
I got you. All right. What's your favorite boat? 'Cause I know you've been on a ton of them.
Favorite boat is definitely the Moth, hands down, to sail.
All
It's
right.
just a I've been out sailing Dave's Wasp the last couple of days, which is pretty fun. But I haven't done anything like that in like 3 years. It was just fun to get out and go rip around again. No matter how if you've had a bad day or anything, you jump on the boat and go rip
losing your audio a little bit. I don't know if you're
Uh,
what's going on, but all right. So your favorite boat is the Moth. Now, what boat do you sail on the most?
J70 for sure.
J70s. Now, why is that? Just you got steady
Um,
owners, steady programs, or
yes, I was very lucky in that sense too. I've been with the same owner for Joel Ronning for 6 years now.
wow,
We started pretty early on, and him and I get along great. We won the World Championships in 2016 together. We won the North Americans in 2017. We got second at the World this year. We've had a great run. He's a great guy. We get along well. We've got a really good team right now. It's myself, Chris Stocky, and Victor, and we're all like brothers. It's fun.
I got you. All right. So what's your favorite place to sail?
Cool. I think I would say San Fran.
Really?
I think San Fran in the summer when it's just ripping, it's fun.
Yeah. I went out there and it was. I used to hate sailing there, especially in the laser days. I was so small.
And you had to hike.
Yeah, I had to hike really hard, and
Yeah.
I ended up spending a summer in Germany and in Europe, and mainly in Germany. And every regatta I went to was blowing over 25. And I flew back in. I went straight to a Pacific Coast Champs in Frisco, and that was calm and timid to me. And that was one of the best regattas I had of the year.
Nice.
I was like, wow, okay, so sailing in heavy air all the time definitely helps.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
all right, so what's one of the best regattas you've ever done?
Well,
Not just winning a world championship, but the best event. Something really cool that just caps it all off.
I would say like one of my favorite events ever would probably have been the Moth North Americans in the Gorge. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Me and my buddy Emery drove a box trailer out with like 15 boats for the class.
Hmm.
And my buddy Johnny Goldsberry met me there, and he had a buddy who had an RV that we borrowed. We went for like 10 days. Parked the RV right at the vid site on the river, and like sailed every day. We were like buying salmon from the fishermen, and just it was awesome. It's like being out in the middle of the woods, camping with your buddies, sailing moss every day, gorge.
Yeah, there's
That was
nothing wrong with that.
that was a cool trip.
Yeah. All right. So, what was your worst trip or worst experience?
Worst experience. Probably the worst trip. We went to the Pan American Games. We qualified in the J24s. It was in Rio, and we've been sailing pretty well all year. We thought we had a chance, probably not to medal, probably not to win the gold. Rishi was on fire, but we could have been top three, I thought. And we asked if we could. I hate to talk bad about sailing, but we asked if we could bring our coach. And we asked what can we do to train. They said, no, we're going to handle everything. We'll have a coach. We'll do all this stuff. Well, they shipped our boat for us. We got there 10 days early to train. The boat didn't show up till the night before the regatta started. So for 10 days straight, we'd get up early in the morning because they always say, oh, the boat's going to show up tomorrow. And we would go sit at the event site, watch every other team go out and practice, and wait. And we were also very close on weight, so we couldn't eat. So not only could we not sail, we couldn't eat either. And that stands out as a pretty bad trip.
Yeah, that.
Still a cool experience getting to represent your country and go to the open stair. That other part was great. I'm thinking meeting other athletes, but sitting there and not being able to eat every day watching everybody sail, that sticks out.
Yeah, that's painful because you
Yeah.
plan on sailing to lose weight, so you can't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So where do you see sailing going in the future now that we're in the middle of a virus? What's going to happen when everything does open up? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's definitely going to come back. I think it's going to have to start more. It's going to be interesting to see because I think you're going to see more of a grassroots level sailing. That's where it's got to start, right? Because no one's really traveling, so it's going to have to start more and probably smaller boats and more local kind of regattas, which if it builds could be quite good.
Yeah.
For us, stuff we do with the catapult stuff, we don't even know where to start right now. Joel and I have a conversation about once a week. Just say, all right, well, let's talk next week. As soon as there's something to plan, let's plan it. But until then, we just got to kind of hold on.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of interest out there. A lot of people want to go sailing. I get that sentiment all the time. A lot of people, people are starting to really miss it for sure.
Yeah, I know everybody's missing it. I know that in our schedule down here, everything's been all the major events. Not necessarily the smaller ones, but all the major ones. The Gulf Coast Champs. The opening regatta, and all of our larger regattas have been postponed and postponed, and they're all really starting to stack up on top of each other.
for
And
sure.
I think that first couple months is going to be a doozy, just trying to figure
Yeah.
out where you're going, and honestly, don't see us having to really travel much other than an hour one way or the other to hit them. So
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna be good. I know for me personally, one thing has been just really realizing how much I appreciate what we had and how good we had it. To be able to go sail every week on all these cool boats, on all these cool places with great people. And you sit at home for a while, you're like, man, you think about the little things you complained about and realize it really wasn't that important, man.
yeah, yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
All right. What's the biggest collision you've ever been involved in?
Biggest collision I've ever been involved in.
Or are you so good you've never been in one?
No, there's some collisions. I'm trying to think if there's a really big one. No, I don't know. I know there was a Charleston Race Week many years ago. It was before it was big, and I was sailing with J boat the other time, Eddie Parker. I was probably like 22 or something. And we had the new J99 to it was the first one here. We are doing it all, and we were going around with a mark, and we wiped out. As we wiped out, our pole went right around the back stay of this Hadley 40 and ripped down both rigs.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty
And
big.
it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been involved in a couple really good ones, and I know, the 270 footers, we had a collision in, we were on 170 and we hit another 70 down in Key
yeah,
West. That was the most painful and scariest, and obviously most expensive one.
yeah,
I was doing a Cork race week one time up in Canada, and it was a beautiful day. It's blowing like 10 knots, 8 knots, and I was doing really well in the race because it was my breeze. I'm in the like top 4 or 5, and the lead group, we had kind of jumped out to a big lead, but we got down to Leeward Mark and parked, completely parked. The wind shut off, and then the whole fleet, the wind kind of didn't really change directions, but it was a big shift and it completely filled in. And the entire fleet, and there's like 200 boats, they all came into us at the Leeward Mark. Everybody rounded that Leeward Mark at the same time, and everybody, it was a raft up. Everybody's jumping boat to boat. People are picking up the mark and running around.
yeah,
It was mayhem, and it was absurd to me. The race committee didn't call the race. There were no protests. You know, People were just jumping in, flipping people over. It was a zoo. It was a bunch of
man.
kids. Uh, yeah, that one hurt because I ended up like 50th in the race when I was in like fourth, going,
Oh,
just getting out of the
yeah,
zoo at the end. Oh, that one was painful for me.
yeah.
All right, so what is your best role on a boat? Now, David says you're just like the trimmer, sail tuner, rig tuner master.
Yeah, that seems to be where I found my sweet spot. Most of the boats I'm the trimmer and the speed guy, and then help with the rig and stuff like that. But that's when I was younger, I caught a lot of tactics, but now then I drove boats a lot when I was younger. But now it seems like that's mainly my role when I get on boats is speed guy, trimmer kind of person.
Yeah. All right. What's the best maneuver you've pulled off, or you've been a part of?
Best maneuver.
Great start, great rounding, great beat, something.
Luckily there's been a lot of them.
Yeah.
Um, um, yes, great maneuver. I'd say one that I didn't think I was going to pull off. When we went to the Moth Worlds in Sorrento, I had just started sailing the Moth. I was pretty new, and it was blowing like 25 to 30. And I was struggling to make it to the starting line. It was in the Gold Fleet at the Worlds. And it was like wipe out, wipe out, wipe out, wipe out. I finally got over the line. I popped up, I looked around, and I was actually on port with about 20 seconds to go, and it was a huge lefty from nowhere. And I just trimmed it, and I crossed the whole fleet. Like if anybody had seen me like 30 seconds before that start, they'd be like, I don't know if that guy should be out here. He looks like he's in trouble.
Yeah.
So,
He's dangerous. Watch out.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you port tack the start. Now
Yeah,
that's a good one.
shortly after that, but I had
Yeah.
a pretty fun story there.
Yeah. All right. Well, what is your best project or your best program you've been involved in?
Definitely the catapult, 100%. The J70. Joel's great. We've been together for so long. It's like our team, Chris Stocky, and before we have Victor now. Before that, it was John Kostecki, and we just had great people and great times. And we're all friends. Like we had a Zoom call for Joel's birthday a couple of days ago that we're all on there with him and all the buddies. We're all just,
Yeah. Yeah, I keep trying to get Victor on here. We're playing phone tag.
yeah,
Kind of like you. I've been trying to
yeah,
get you for a week or two, and I think you went fishing.
yeah.
That was a nice fish.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Who'd you go fishing with?
My dad, and my uncle.
Very cool. Family outing.
Down
All
there.
right. Uh, the America's Cup. Now that it's
Yep.
in the big foil and monohulls, what do you think about it? You love it? You hate it? What are your thoughts?
A little bit both. The America's Cup for me personally has always been a huge dream.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. I did go 3 years ago try out with the American Magic. Terry was nice enough to invite me. I learned that I'm not big and strong enough to be anywhere near a grinder on that boat, unfortunately. I think the technology side of it is unreal. The stuff that comes out of there. I think the boats are the fastest boats on the planet. It's cool. The one thing I wish was different. I wish it was more heavily sailor invested. Like right now, you kind of would need three ish really really good sailors, and then 8 guys that are very strong.
Yeah.
I wish the balance was a little different.
Yeah.
But the guys that are sailing those boats, the sailors on them would be on any cup boat that they can come up with. I'm sure they're the best of the best.
Yeah. They're what's crazy is even the grinders and the people that, you know, I hate to diminish what those guys do because they're all talented, phenomenal
for sure.
sailors, but and it to me is kind of a waste of talent. They've got so much talent and we're sticking them grinding,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's powering hydraulics and I don't know. I haven't seen the boats up close and personal to know if it's connected to the winches or if the winches are
Yeah,
always spinning, but it's like, man, you've got so much talent here. You could just
yeah,
you could take those guys and start a whole nother team.
yeah, definitely.
All right. So what do you have planned in the future as far as sailing? You're staying on with the J70 on catapult.
Depending when it starts, to be honest, my girlfriend and I have been sailing Dave's Wasp a bunch lately. Just going out, she's learning, she's doing great.
Yeah.
We've been out doing that a bunch and just having fun. Getting used to the home life. That's probably the longest I've been in one spot for 10 years, I think. Pretty
Yeah.
crazy. We keep talking about we're ready to go sail. As soon as we can make a plan, we'll make a plan. We're just kind of in a holding pattern till then.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same thing. All
Yeah.
right. So I know you sail with a lot of women. How do you see the state of women sailing?
I think the state women's sailing it could always be improved. It could always be better. There are some very, very talented women out there. I think the one area is in the small keelboat one design, which that seems to be where I spend a lot of my time in that kind of area of the sport. There could definitely be a stronger women presence. There's women there, but they could definitely be in better roles on the boats. I think at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how you get to that, but it should definitely be looked at.
Yeah. It's kind of like we need to make a push when these girls are coming out of college and say, here's a boat, take it, use it.
Yeah,
That way they can get into it and stay in it. Because what seems to happen, even though you have great drivers, female drivers coming out of college, they just happen to be the right size for the pointy end of the boat. It's like,
yeah,
hey, you go up there and be our floater, and
yeah.
it definitely puts them in a hole.
Mhm.
So, all right. Do you have any ideas on how we can grow this sport? How we make sailing better?
I think with the same thing along with the lines of the women, I think we've got to do something to make it accessible to that out of college before you're 35 range. Seems like that's where we lose a lot of people because I know, for instance, in Charleston, right? Like one of my biggest, I love Charleston to death, but my biggest pet peeve is there's not a lot of sailing here really. Race week's huge, but other than race week, there's some good local stuff. There's great sailors here, but it's because the access to the water here is so hard.
Yeah.
You're not a member of one of the yacht clubs, and then one of the yacht clubs here doesn't allow women members, which is just a disaster and an embarrassment.
Yeah.
And when you put that along with just high fees to join everywhere, it makes it hard for people to get on the water. Then you look at like a Sail Newport, and they have a great one design scene, right? And that's a very state-run facility that makes it very easy for people to get on the water.
Right. And they have tons of sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tricky thing trying to figure it out. A lot of people, we try to or most of the people I've talked to all harken back to the community thing and trying to come up with ways to get people active and bringing the community and the
Yeah.
families into it.
And one time I was thinking like if you, I thought of this a lot. I thought maybe you could look at like the successful places. Like I definitely say you put the St. Pete Sailing Center in there.
Yeah,
Put some of the Day World things. You would put Sail Newport for sure. If you kind of like looked at all their business models and saw how they did things, that seems to be working. Those areas always seem to have good sailing. Bringing people up through the ranks.
yeah, yep. All right. I'm trying to think of a new question. I've kind of lost. I had these 20 questions I've been doing for these interviews, but I'm trying to change them up.
Yeah.
All right. What's the strangest thing you've seen sailing? That's been floating by. Something that's strange in the water. A ship, a body, weird.
I'd say not super sure. In the Transpac race, I know like one morning we had something on the rudder and we couldn't cut it off. It was kind of hanging back pretty far, and before too long, it was one guy. I was second back from the other ladder. We had three guys. I was holding Curtis Lawrence's legs, and one guy was holding my legs. We were over the back of the boat, floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We pulled off like a 9-foot piece of exhaust tube, but if they'd seen us 3 people deep holding on to each other.
Yeah. While you're moving real fast.
Yeah.
All right.
That was pretty common that morning.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've wrapped up most of our questions. Pretty simple, pretty painless. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to let you go yet because you've only been here for 24 minutes. You're going to take the record of the shortest interview.
All right.
All right. So what do you do when you're not sailing?
Oh, I've been trying to figure that out lately, to be honest, because we're not doing much sailing. So I've started new hobbies. I've been fishing lately.
Yeah.
My house is looking better. We've been doing some yard work. I've got a power boat, so we've been going on the boat a lot. What else is there? Puzzles. So puzzles, I can probably show you. We've got a couple puzzles right here, as a matter of fact. All down there on the floor.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, we're really scraping the walls over here.
Dude, that is like extreme boredom. You've never heard of video games or
yeah, no.
Or
I've played some virtual regatta, virtual sailing. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, a lot of people got we had a group down here trying to get me into it. The problem is it doesn't matter what you do. I end up doing like 2 penalty turns every race or get 2 penalties. You can't get rid of it.
Well, Cole says I have a very love-hate relationship with that game because I'll be like all about it, and I'll be like, this game's the worst. Fuck this game. I hate this game.
Yeah, I know. Same here. Exactly. All right. Well, let's see here. The virtual sailing we talked about. Let me see if there's anything on my list that I've missed. No, I think I missed. All right, just tell me a story, man. Tell me some good wild story.
Good wild story about sailing.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
We sit around in the bar every night after races. Just throwing things out there. Pick one.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like when you asked me what was the worst thing you've ever been in, I would say this isn't the worst, but it was probably one of the most embarrassing / like lesson learning, humbling.
There you go.
At the laser single hand or the college single hand nationals my senior year in Hawaii. We're all there, and first race, I'm like leading up the first beat, and all the coaches are anchored off right next to other mark. I'm like, I'm gonna do a sick roll tack and just show all these coaches what's up. Sure enough, sick roll tack, missed the strap, flipped over on top of the mark. After that race, I learned very quickly, like, you're never as good as you think you are.
Uh-huh.
And dude, don't ever fucking show off. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
That was kind of embarrassing, good life learning lesson.
All right. Now, in St. Pete a couple months ago, what were your thoughts with that one weird start when you had the one Mel just hung on the committee boat, me drifting through, me over early having to...
Yeah, dude. I don't know how you did that. That was amazing.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, that boat, there was a boat hung on the pin. Oh, that's neat. And it was actually Cole, my girlfriend. She was on that boat.
Yeah, she was on that boat, yeah.
And then all of a sudden I saw you come charging in, and you went in between the boat stuck on the pin and the pin. And I was like, there's no way he's going to get stuck. And somehow you made it through there.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those situations. I've been watching him because... Yeah, I've been watching those guys because they hung the anchor line, And when they shot up to dodge the anchor line, I had to shoot up to get around them, right? And made me over. And of course, I waited my 5 or 6 seconds till they called me, or
Yeah.
I saw the flag, and I kind of knew I was over. So I went ahead and we dove around. By the time I'd made it around, I had another boat coming in. I had to kind of extend my start line instead of actually diving back. And the whole time I'm watching, the new boat come in, and I'm watching the one boat hung on the pin, and I saw them finally get free, and I saw them drifting backwards. So I know their keel wasn't hung, and I knew they were just dead in the water going back. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, after this job, let's look and see if there's 8 feet. And I looked up, and there's about 7.5 feet. And I'm like, I think I can do it. By the time I make this turn up, I'll be there. And boy, I
Dude,
think I missed both boats by two
the
inches.
timing, the timing was spot on. We were sitting there because we were in the J70s, right? So we were the next car watching this whole thing unfold. We're like, what's he doing? There's no way he's gonna make that. And
Yeah,
then sure enough, he just came shooting out of there.
yeah. Like you say, that's the oh yeah. I didn't ask you this question. Are you aggressive or conservative?
I would
You,
say I'm pretty conservative. As I get older, I'm more conservative. How about that?
yeah. 'Cause, I mean, you can see how I am.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
I'm not just aggressive. I go for epic aggressive.
How much more aggressive you were when you were younger?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I was like in my
Yeah,
20s.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, what is your one of your strong suits while you're sailing, other than rig tune and stuff? I mean, do you think that you're better at talking people through a starting line? Are you better at just getting the shoot up quick and down, or what are some of your
Downwind technique is one place that it's something I really enjoy, and I think that I'm pretty good at is trimming, like especially on asymmetrical boats, being the trimmer and working with the driver downwind and waves or planing, or that's one of my favorite things. Big breeze downwind sailing is probably
uh,
my favorite thing to do. I'm lucky enough for with Joel, especially. We've done it for so many years. He's gotten so good at it. Him and I, just the teamwork's there. And then when I get to do with other drivers, it's great too. Just getting in the groove with guys and working the waves. That's the fun part.
yeah. Now, do you have to talk your driver through it, or and how is it different on different boats? I mean, are you when you step on, do you have to take over the boat and take over the program, or you just sort of meld into the
It depends on the role. I think anytime you come in as the trimmer, especially the kite trimmer downwind, you need to step in with a little bit of authority, not to overrule anything that they do currently, but to really help call the mode downwind with the driver and like immediately figure out what keywords and what the driver's going to cue into when you talk to them.
mm,
And I think anytime you step into a boat, the communication needs to be through the roof. And the more you sail together, the less you communicate until it gets to the point where you're just kind of grunting at each other at some point.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I gotcha. Yeah, that's an important thing. I think whenever I jump on a new boat, and if I'm a trimmer, basically I always try to defer to the tactician
yeah,
and the driver, and then I throw I give my little advice on how to get them around the course
yeah,
where I can. As a tactician, it's a little different. I mean, don't
yeah.
you see it as a little different? What's your style if you're a tactician on a boat?
Tactician on the boat, I think I'm trying to just be more big picture outside of the boat and try to let the guys do what they're good at. I know when I'm the other role, I try to just focus on speed and like feed the tactician information and
Yeah,
not be opinionated about it. But when you're in the other role, just trying to be outside the boat, talking through what's going to happen, and let people do their jobs.
yeah. Now, see, I keep trying to get this old crew together and get Spanky on board. I'd love to get you
Pretty
on
fun.
board.
You should do
You know,
that.
get Cole on there. Like I said, I could build a real good team with some of my old buddies. But
Yeah, sure.
say I got you on the boat, we put Spanky in tactics, you trimming.
Yep.
How much yelling at me would you think you'd have to do?
Well, it would be encouraging, not yelling.
Oh, come on. You're not the turn up. What are you doing? You got to turn
No,
down.
I keep it pretty in control.
Yeah,
We have Victor yell at us, so I just use. I'm the good cop.
yeah. The good cop. All right, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna put that in your tagline on this.
yeah, I like that.
All right. So with these questions, do you have anything else to add?
No, it's nice to talk about sailing for a little while.
Yeah,
About the good old days when we used to be able to sail whenever we wanted to and travel around the world
yeah,
and race boats and have a good time. Hopefully, we get back there.
yep. All right. With that, do you have any advice for new people that are getting in or are into it and trying to figure out how to get better?
Yeah, I think just learn as much as you can whenever you can. You know, be a sponge around people and just work hard and stay focused. It all takes time. You've got to put the time in. No one just walks on in one day and just is amazing at anything in the sport. You have to put the time in and just stay focused and keep working and learn as much as you can. Have fun.
Yep. Practice, practice, practice.
Exactly.
All right. Well, everybody, this is Zane with Sailing Views. This is Patrick Wilson, rock
Hey guys,
star, the kingmaker, you name it. The guy's incredible. He's won just about every small keelboat event there is, and he continues to do so. Excellent, excellent professional. If you ever need a really good crew and a great speed merchant, here he is. So,
thanks guys.
all right, Patrick, thank you very
Yeah, Zach,
much.
catch up.
Yep, we will. We will. Stick around after this. I'm gonna hang up and
Sure.
the recording, and we'll go. All right. Well, once again, everybody, like, subscribe, join the channel. I need you to join. All right. Over, out, and bye bye.